Hello and welcome to CollegiateR6. Today we have an incredible game for you. Georgia Tech Gold will be going up against Michigan State Green, the third and fourth spot, if I am not mistaken. And correcting me if I'm wrong will be the wonderful Vial, who I believe is our first time working together, isn't it?
My bad, I misclicked on my keyboard, but yes, it will be our first time working together, and honestly, I could not be any more excited to work with you alongside because we have a great matchup here tonight. We have Michigan State University Green versus Georgia Tech Gold. This is going to be an exciting matchup because, like you said, the 3 and the 4 spot, they are undefeated right now. They are absolutely balling, as we like to say.
Yes, indeed we do. And looking at this match already, the map pool is quite extraordinary compared to what you typically see coming out from a map this size. Because recently we've seen a lot of Villa, we've seen a lot of Clubhouse and CAF, as you typically do. But we've got some spicy maps coming in, don't we?
Yes, we do. The first map we're actually going to be heading to is Oregon. And surprising enough, Michigan State actually elected to pick this map for themselves. I don't know necessarily why, because what we have, at least on terms of VOD reviews from them, they actually lost this map the one time they've played it. Granted, they did lose it 8-7, so maybe they're still feeling very confident in it. Otherwise, I'd still say it could be shaky. Maybe Georgia Tech, just decided, hey, we really want to play for this, but that'll show in their gameplay. They haven't played it once in this competitive pool yet, so that's going to be the more interesting part. The next map that was picked was actually Theme Park by Georgia Tech, and both of these teams have played them twice. We saw Georgia Tech go there, and they're 1-1 on that map pool. Very close matchups both times they went, but Michigan, they were able to slaughter both times they went there and are 2-0. So that's going to be the map that really determines this series, because whoever takes map 1 is really going to have to fight back on map 2.
Okay, so taking that into consideration, as we look at the Oregon, MSU, they played it once before, and like you said, they were beaten, but being 8-7, that's maximum overtime, meaning, MSU, they might have something under the hood and might have taken that opportunity to learn about the map, learn what they're doing wrong, and make the micro adjustments needed to possibly secure the win next time. So I'm going to make a bold prediction here. If we see MSU take the Oregon, I could see them picking up the second map and ending this quite quickly. But if GT can get this first map, I think they've got a chance on Theme Park. And then what will be our third map?
Our third map is going to be Villa, and that is a very exciting map because I believe only one team, actually no, scratch that, both of them have gone to Villa, and only once, and both of them have won. So that's going to be the interesting part of this matchup, is if we actually do go the full distance, all 3 maps here, what new strats are they going to be pulling out? Because we've only seen it once from both these teams, and no doubt that each of these teams want to be making sure they guarantee themselves that playoff spot, because we're in week 4 or 5 right now for the Swiss league, I guess you can say.
Yeah. And that is pretty exciting looking at this. Both of these teams looking to just get above each other, get the points that they need to secure that possible third, second, or first spot in the conference so far. And I do want to take this moment to just point out, if you're in university or college so far, try and get involved. If you want to be one of these players on the screen, make sure to get involved, get in the CollegiateR6 scene, and just have fun, most importantly. I'm over in the UK here, Vial, but I'm involved with my UK university siege as well, and honestly, I can't look back, because that's what started me here. That's why I'm here.
Well, I can't disagree with you at all. It's all about getting involved, especially with the certain teams you want to see. And speaking of teams that we want to see, I want to just dive back into these 2 teams and point out one of these, or at least the play styles from both of these teams. We see kind of the kill stats between a lot of MSU, and it's mostly just, everyone's spread out in terms of kills. No one's really been standing out besides, of course, your 60 or 70 kills so far without your through weeks. However, if we look down to Georgia Tech, I don't know if you noticed this, but Mighty Africa, he's got 95 kills through 3 weeks. He stands in the outright 6th spot right now in the league. And honestly, that's the one player that you have to be completely worried about. In one map alone, he dropped, I believe, 23 and 3. So he is out here. He's going to be the gunner, and he's going to be the person on Georgia that we have to watch out for.
Oh, definitely. I do think that posting stats like that is nothing to be sniffed at. Like you said, this is the 4th week. So played 3 weeks before. That's a total of, I believe, if my maths is wrong, you'll correct me, but that's a total of 9 maps so far that they could have played. And 96 kills? That is incredible stats to post up. So, like you say, definitely someone to watch out for, and someone MSU have to. And looking at this lineup, I think MSU, they've got to go for the early aggression on Oregon, take the win there, try and shut out Theme Park, whereas GT Gold, I'd like to see them try and push for that 3rd map, try and push out the Villa, and then bring something special out there. And Mighty Africa might be the guy to do it.
Yeah, if he's going to have another standout performance, which I don't think is out of the realm of possibility, considering he's dropped double-digit kills in every single map except 2, and granted, they've played actually 7 of the potential 9 maps available. So, granted, some teams have been pushing them to the brink, but really, it's all been them. They've really just been standing alone, and I guess really it's all Mighty Africa, I guess you can say.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Georgia Tech will be wanting heading into this game. But I do want to talk about how we are very close to getting into said game. And Vial, it's going to be nothing but extraordinary. I think that's all I could say. I'm very excited to be here with you, but we just have a little bit of technical issues with the players. So we'll be a minute or two, maybe a little bit longer.
Yeah, and speaking on to MSU as well, I don't want to discredit them. While none of them have really posted some outright stats like Mighty Africa on GT Gold, let's not forget, they're still undefeated as well. They've only dropped 1 map through 7 as well. Same thing with GT Gold. They both have similar records, but very contrasting play styles from what we can notice on the stats. Everyone plays more together, and I think that's what's really going to play into them and actually pulling off the victory. But who knows, as we start off this match, we're heading into Oregon, as we're going to start off this ban phase, and this is the interesting part here for Oregon. I'm predicting I'm going to go straight to the defensive bans because the attacker bans are just really meta at this point. I'm really more interested on the defensive bans. I think we get to see either a Clash or a Wamai ban.
The Wamai ban, that's something I really would like to see, because the meta that's definitely developed, especially with the top floor and maybe the bottom floor as well, that's definitely gone in. You need a Jaeger and a Wamai. You can have the Jaeger in the strategic places, Wamai backing up your team around nearby. So maybe your attic position. And then you can also maybe play Con a lot more safer with those ADSs and double stack them rather than only one if you don't have that Wamai. So I really want to see a Wamai ban come out. And a Clash one, I think it's kind of very simple why it would come out. But the attack bans, like you said, they're really meta. I think everyone could have guessed what they'd be.
Yeah, it's a Thatcher and Maverick ban here for attack. It makes a lot of sense. People just don't want to get these walls open. There are plenty of ways for these teams to do it. However, limiting their options, especially without a Thatcher and a Maverick, makes it a lot more difficult here. And the first ban coming out is going to be Amira. This also makes a lot of sense because she is one of the stronger operators, especially when you have to establish long lines of sight. She's very good at holding on to Attic and very good at holding on to J Bunker. And the last ban coming out, it's actually going to be Malusi. So both of my and Clash, very two meta operators for this map, will still be in play. And Malusi being banned, that's a toss-up for me. I understand why you'd ban her, but at the same time, I don't think it was the most necessary of bans.
Okay, yeah, I understand where you're coming from, but I do see why they've gone for the Malusi as well, because you got to think that has the T5, it has the impacts in C4, so there's a lot of sight potential setup, as well as the actual gadget itself. She can put that gadget down and slow the attackers, and just like, say, a Gridlock or a Nomad, shutting down these flankers with audio information as well, which goes to your team. So taking the Malusi off the board, I'm not really surprised. It's something just allows for the attackers to... It allows for the defenders, actually. I'm tripping over my words a little bit, but that's because it's so big brain that I'm struggling to comprehend. Taking the Malusi off the board allows you a lot of freedom of movement, and that's something you really want as an attacker, so you can dictate where the gunfights take place and manipulate the situation to yourself.
And it looks like we're going to be starting here on this top floor for defense. Makes a lot of sense. Most teams elect to start here. I don't know if I necessarily agree with it. There are plenty of other more viable sites in terms of that bottom floor, along with the technically best site on this map, which is that kitchen and meeting hall site. I am personally a big fan of that site, especially if you know how to hold it. But most teams elect to use it as their tertiary. Makes a lot of sense here. And speaking of which, they're actually electing not to bring a Clash. They're going to bring that Wamai. Makes a lot of sense. You're still using the same, I guess you can say, denial and slow down technique rather with that Wamai.
Yeah, looking at it, not surprising to bring, like you said, it's either that or a Clash realistically. But what we are seeing is a pretty standard lineup coming out regardless, but the two roamers are going to be causing the issues for the attackers. You have got Jello and Squash each on the roam there as MSU Green get that push set up. They've got Spin nearby. They're going over towards Master Bedroom. Egg's going to be putting a lot of pressure towards this Master Bedroom site early. Squash will be the first person to possibly take contact this round. And if Squash can get this kill, open this up and take out Buck, that can be huge. However, the drone coming out will spot Squash. Egg gonna start backing up as a C4 will go off but doesn't find anyone. While Shotgun has taken a little bit of damage, but not enough to really necessitate falling back off this position.
Very, very early engagement coming in here, but I don't think Egg knows exactly where Squash is. He might be just trying to peek around the corner and find him, but no, it looks like Bloom is actually going to be peeking and maybe going for that early engagement, locking him down. And they know exactly where he is. They don't want to let him roam back onto site. And this just tells a testament to how most teams want to hold this top floor site. They're going to hold it more vertically rather than horizontally across the entire map, except for Attic and this closet wall, which is already open. And some whiff shots coming out here from both players. And Bloom, he will be the first frag to be found out here by Squash, but a refrag coming in by Spin, why Shogun will be the man to fall for GT Gold as guns just keep flurries of bullets swinging by, but it doesn't matter because all of a sudden this attack is starting to do a lot more damage to this setup.
Yes, the first gunfight of this series, resulting in a casualty for both, but Polybop will start to take some damage from Attic, will get down, but not finished off. Egg, though, finds Jello, shot Sabine, looks for that kill onto Spin, but is just unable to get it, gets the tag, and Egg coming in support. Two players of this MSU lineup are low HP. Polybop is down low as well on that ground, and the revive will have to come out. So Ben can just hold, play it safe, but he's going to go for the peak, will get tagged up and doesn't find the kill. Gold now just starting to pull back and hold. They have the smoke canisters. This can really cause a lot of problems when it comes to the late 30 seconds, which we're about to see. This volley starts to push in. Spin pushing into Attic, being caught unawares, but will get killed by Mighty Africa, that standout player you were talking about.
Talk about I did indeed, but a beautiful shot coming in from Africa as he gets himself another one, and 15 seconds now down the clock. He gets himself another with the smoke canister, and it doesn't matter. Sir Ben is able to lock out this round. First one going to GT Gold.
Yeah, a really good round coming out from both sides. However, at the end of the day, Georgia Tech, they just had the late game prepared. They had the player Sir Ben playing an Attic behind the shield. There was nothing MSU were really doing to flush him out. They knew he had Wamai charges and knew ADSs would be nearby. So I understand why they didn't use any utility to flush him out, but that definitely was the end game for them. Maybe if they didn't ace up the Attic angle, maybe it wouldn't have been so much of a key part of that round. But I, yet again, understand why they would have gone for that, because you want the more angles. At the end of the day, though, time did just tick down, and Sir Ben did an incredible job holding them down in that master bedroom, with enough time for Mighty Africa to clean up with that smoke.
Yeah, I mean, they really just they wasted as much time as they could from that attack, and then they still had plenty of utility to waste on their end with those smoke canisters. So hats off to them to playing their defense to a T. And really, if you're MSU Green, we know it's a little early in this round, yes, but if you think about it, what you have to do as your attacking side, especially when you go to this bottom floor site, you have to clear out this utility as quickly as you can and make sure there's no roamers. That's the biggest issue for a lot of teams who ever play on this site or any map in general, now that I think about it, is that if you're not worried about the roamers, you're not playing this game right.
Yeah, I think letting Squish Squash get that early kill onto Bloom, and just nothing happening about it. That was a big problem, and the IQ was a huge kill, because at the start of the round, having an IQ who could play below, yes, you've got the bottom, the IQ being taken away. That way you can get below, you can catch people on cams, you could catch utility without them noticing, but the bottom floor is going to be a different story. And with the Wamai coming in support, I can see Mighty Africa really excelling in this composition. You can see he's got that ADS there in support. Wamai Magnet's going to be nearby as well. MSU Green, I want to see them take meeting control. If they can open that, then they've got a much better chance than just pushing this bottom floor.
We're going to start clearing out this entire, it looks to be most of that big tower side. And now that they know that no one's there, it's going to be just a quick entry coming in from Spin. And they know exactly where both these players are as well. Jello Shots along with Mighty Africa. They're holding on to this J bunker as well as they can, and Spin is trying to contest this, but he's not able to land the shots, at least not yet, along with someone in Pillar trying to help him out, and he knows exactly that someone is going to be peeking this. It's Squash. They have so many Apex points here that MSU Green is going to have to deal with, and that's the biggest issue here. You have these points of contention that really lead to the offense being slowed down until they deal with it.
Yeah, the biggest problem I can see here is they get too distracted with Squash. They say that he's playing Pillars, they forget about Jello, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case as these smoke cancers will go off. A minute 30 on the clock, and well, my Magnet will catch that last Ash charge, I do believe, and MSU Green realize they're going to have to try something else, so they're probably going to go for this weekend push. Spin, though, taking a bit of damage thanks to Squash, and with a minute 20 on the clock, not a single player down on either side. This is looking very much in Georgia Tech's favor.
Yeah, and one thing that looks extremely scary is that now that you burned all your utility on that one side, all that the defense has to do is train their guns on the exact opposite side and pray that you can utility dump once again. And that's the dangerous part about putting all your players and all your utility into one side as a dump. You still have to worry about all the other angles on the other side if you choose to go through somewhere else. And it looks like that's exactly what's about to happen. But the outright gunfight here for Polybob is not going to be able to win it here. Wise will find Volley, and Jello will find Spin as the picks just come flying in for this team. Squash gets himself another on this game, and it looks like more frags will be pushing in, and he's not even going to be able to win that gunfight. Sir Ben will win it outright. Squash gets himself a double. Flawless round here for GT Gold.
I'm not really sure what to say there as you saw Ben push in, but on the side of MSU. But Georgia Tech, they did a really good job. They weren't tunnel vision completely on holding the construction area. They had a Goyo shield pillars. They had a Goyo shield by that construction door, a Wamai and a smoke playing there. But then it was really easy to rotate around. They knew there's a potential for them to come around Freezer, come down main. So they had the shield set in place. All they had to do was play for refrags in that Freezer area after they found that first kill. And the round was realistically theirs. But we are going to head to that kitchen dining hall, and I'm going to drop a bit of knowledge on you. What I want to see from the defense so badly right now is I want to see a mini tower hold, because there's a part of the floor in mini tower where if you pop that, you can get eyes onto the door into dining. So it's a key position for attackers to take. And if you neglect that as a defender, you're really putting yourself at risk, because then that's a really good post-plant position. Yes, you can play with a shotgun or a C4, but if the plant goes down, the attackers are up there. It's really difficult, and getting into mini tower after that position spell is almost shy of impossible. I have to say it. So if we could see a hold like that, that'd be great. But it looks like we're going to see a lot of Locker's presence with the Goyo nearby. ADS is no doubt going to be in support.
Bomb located by attackers.
One thing that I do also want to at least point out, they're not really doing anything vertically. At least not yet. We saw Squash go up there to hold, and hopefully he has a little bit of reinforcements, because one person on a top floor roam just leads to him hopefully finding a frag and then either getting traded out or having to fall back before he loses his life. So I'm very interested to see what he does here. It looks like he's just going to be reinforcing as much as he can to set up a sort of top floor stronghold. And I will have to say, I do like that idea of a mini tower hold. I don't know how effective it would be, considering there's really no way to fall back besides running outside, which would be a very interesting way of flanking around, if I do say so.
Yeah, I think the way that I've played it myself, and I've seen other teams play it, is definitely you play that, you play your life. You realize you're not getting out of there alive. realistically trying to hold out as long as you can, but it doesn't matter right now. Sir Ben, though, is able to find spin as we see a meeting side push. Having Sir Ben in this crucial position, able to get an eye on that Z position, is going to be quite key, as it allows for, it shuts off a lot of rotate, but the meeting war has just been breached. Volley peeking it, looking for a kill. He is unable to find the rest of the team in support. Mighty Africa does not care. Will find a kill as Volley gets that trade, and now 3v4 with a minute 50 on the clock. The Jello shots will find a kill. Bloom DCing. I think it's going to be a sound bug, but he will be DCing all the same. And as we watch Egg go down as well, GT looking to confirm the kill and bring us down to a 1v4. Polyblob can pull this off with that AK-12, but he's not going to, as Squash secures another kill.
Yeah, and it makes a lot of sense. We will be waiting to hear if he needs to come back. And yes, he will be. It will be a rehost coming in terms of MSU. Makes a lot of sense. Their player left. They have to get everyone back. And we don't want to have that, man disadvantage for these teams. They're playing very well in terms of each other. However, one thing we do have to note, GT Gold, they're up 3-0. They just had a flawless site rotation, McCready. I don't think I've seen it before, but I don't know exactly what Michigan needs to do. What do you think that Michigan needs to do in terms of finding their way back in, at least in this half?
Okay, well, bringing it back to that last round, I think there was a key lack of vertical play. You have Sledge, you have Buck on the board. We've seen them brought before, yes. We've seen Sledge brought quite a bit, but you're pushing the meeting area. It's pretty much just players meeting, maybe one that Z position who fell quite quickly. Maybe getting on top, get the drones in, take advantage of those full 3 minutes that you have. You're just kind of getting into meeting, getting the wall open and starting to push in. So maybe if you go up above, start shooting down towards the defenders, you can put pressure on them so they're not just looking at where you're coming from. They're focusing on different things. There's a bit more confusion. The fog of war will come into play, but on the macro kind of side, I'm not really sure what adjustments need to be made. Specifically, I just think that as we head into it, GT can keep doing the same thing, and MSG, I think they should just start trying different things. See if something else works. Different peaks, different operators maybe, but not too different, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think if there's one thing I would at least critique them on, it seems like they're skipping through the checklist. I talk about this a lot on some of the other leagues I cast. It's all about your checklist and how you get through a round. You have to clear out the roamers, take map control, do vertical pressure if you do, or horizontal pressure, depending on where you have to attack and what the map is. And honestly, it looks like they're just skipping it. It looks like they don't really care. They want to just force their way into the map. And maybe we come back from the rehost and they look better. I really hope they do. But in terms of the defense, they are playing a lot better. They're playing out as much as they can. They're delaying all the time they possibly can, winning their outright gunfights. And honestly, it has to be that kind of switch up coming in from MSU. They have to be able to switch it up, play as well as they normally do, and fight back, just taking their time, checking off the checklist, finding those picks, not forcing themselves into the gunfights. Because if you force yourself into those gunfights, like you saw, they're going to lose it pretty often to GT.
Yeah, and speaking of those gunfights, now there's a severe lack of rephrase going in and on the side of MSU. And what that really says to me is there's maybe not as much coordination as they need. They're going in, they're losing a player, but then there's nobody there to try and get that kill afterwards to even the numbers out. So as soon as GT Gold get that first kill, they can then play the numbers game, have 2 people peek out for every gunfight, and by the rule of numbers and the rule of maths, which you've told me you love with numbers, they're just going to win. But I do also want to talk a little bit about that checklist you were speaking of, because it's something I've kind of come up with as well, entirely separately. And it's the first time I've heard anyone else really use that kind of metaphor.
Yeah, I speak on it with one of my co-casters, Chief. We talk about it a lot. It's all about the checklist. It's all about, are you able to get through a certain round step by step, and make sure you're taking care of those things on the fly as well. Because while you can have a checklist, the other name of the game is adaptability. if you're not able to adapt, if you're not able to come back and really adjust to whatever the defense or the attack, depending on how the round is going, you really will be losing that round outright no matter what, because it's all about that adaptability to whatever is sent your way.
Yeah, I just really like the fact that I'm not the only one to really come up with you've got a checklist in mind, and then when you look at strats, especially as a player, it really makes things kind of make sense to me, because you're like, okay, we've got a checklist, we need to get this done, then we can move on, we need to do it within this kind of time limit, and then it allows you to really input operators as well. Say you have a Thatcher. That essentially clears off a good, at least quarter of this metaphorical checklist. When it's the utility drain and such, you have a Thatcher, and it speeds everything up. Because a lot of teams have strats that adjust for the Thatcher ban, because it has become so prevalent now. So having a Thatcher in that strat isn't the key part of it, it just speeds everything up, especially your ADS clear, your Magna clear. Although with the rework of Thatcher, it is a little different now, and it has to be taken advantage of a lot quicker than before.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised that Thatcher is still a prominent ban, even after the rework, because it's not as effective for bandit tricking, I guess you can say, because you don't really have to worry about it if you still have your bandit charges. You can take it off and then place a new one if need be. And speaking of need be, Egg finds himself a pick early on into the round after this rehost, and it's up to Shogun. That's your mute off the board, so while that is a Nitro cell potentially gone, you don't really have anything else besides a gun to point and click.
They did have that C4 and it did go off, but we are seeing Jello shots coming towards this main area. And speaking of C4s, we'll get that diffuser. Polyblob going down, and most importantly, the only hard breach of this attacking side. Spin will take a little bit of damage as Money Africa will get some shots out, but it's not enough to secure a kill just yet. And GT Gold have got that late roam place in place. MSU, if they want to stay safe from these late roamers, they are going to have to play with those flank drones. But Egg might be exposed a little bit here. Will back off, though, realizing it's not the best position. But Squash, he's still down below. Minute 20 on the clock, and Flashbang starting to go out, looking to clear out this utility and hope for a push. But Squash, he is coming. Volley will find one kill, but Squash is able to find another. He gets a diffuser, he gets Bloom, and it's Volley is down. It's all down to Spin, who's in sight with no diffuser. Looks for a kill into Attic, will find Sir Bane, but it might be too little too late. As we have a minute on the clock, Squash has complete control of that master side and is ready for this push, and will get that final kill. And that flank was round winning. There's no other way to describe it.
Yeah, it's all about that adaptability, like we said, and they didn't seem to have anybody on a flank drone watching it. It didn't seem like nobody who was dead or alive was truly watching it, and typically if someone is dead, you're not out of the game just yet. You still have to be watching those flank drones. Maybe they didn't have one set up, and that would be the fluke, I would call, of that round. You have to have a Claymore, although Claymores are pretty useless in this game, I do have to say. You have to have a drone watching it just in case, and if the drone is shot, you have to call that out and make sure that they know someone is coming. So hats off to Squash. He got himself a very nice two-piece to put his team in a very good position to win that round, because if he wasn't, dare I say, Volley, who was coming in from the big window, he would have had a very, very good opportunity to make himself known.
Yeah, I think if Squash was found, at least seen, then that round could have played out very differently, because you saw the opening kill come from MSU, and if forcing Squash to rotate over towards maybe the attic side, if there was a wall open, which there wasn't, or white stairs, would have just given you so much more map dominance just by having that position there. And, you know, it's something that MSU really need to just look at after this game and just say, okay, that's something we need to work on. But we are going to return to this bottom floor site. And an almost identical lineup. Actually, it is an identical lineup. As you see, the setup for the con hold is there. You have that Goyo, Jaeger Wamai, so the utility dump is coming in, and vertical play is not an option with the Cade.
Oh, this is a very, very, very scary lineup, because I believe this is the exact same lineup that they're bringing in terms of the last time they played this bottom floor site. And if you're not able to clear out the utility like you weren't last time, do they adjust and maybe not go for this J bunker hold? Do they elect to go from maybe the south side from that main laundry take, or do they elect to go into freezer? And it doesn't look like they're trying to apply pressure, at least immediately, onto J Bunker. So no, it looks like they're going to come from the south and the west. You know, maybe that is what they need to actually do. They have to go from freezer, and maybe that's how they tack on their first round onto the board, because McCready, they're down 4-0 right now in the half.
Yes, but realistically, going on attack, 4-2 is the kind of half you'd want. But as we see Volley pushing down towards his freezer, I understand the thinking of, we need to try something different. The first time didn't work. So if they pool their resources, go to freezer main, and try and push that, they should be, you know, the thought is they should be okay. But the rotate has coming out from MSU. Maybe a flank towards north side, or wouldn't be off the cards completely, but we are seeing the push start to come out. MSU are holding that freezer and holding this construction area still really heavily. The prepped C4 will be spotted and called out, hopefully, by the attackers, as utility is starting to be drained. The players of GT are just playing on that drone. They are just waiting. Polyblob able to get a hatch open as Volley's able to find an opening kill onto the Goyo, shutting down that longer line of sight as freezer control is given to MSU. And this is a very good round as we see them start to take this map control.
Yes, this map control is heavily in their favor right now, and it looks like a Squash want to get really aggressive, and he'll pay the price for that as Volley finds himself one. He'll actually find himself a triple, and let's see if he can net himself a quad, maybe an ace here, because he is on the cards for a spin. He's going to play plenty of damage into it as Mighty Africa. He gets one back, and he's left in an ace clutch scenario here. He's not going to be able to do it. Wall bang from Bloom, and MSU, they get themselves their first round on the board.
Yeah, and arguably not soon enough. Oh, the melee hole just doing Africa a dirty right there. And looking at the round, yeah, I understand, you know, the freezer main stairs push, that was the way to go around. The construction push really didn't work out. So you're saying, right, we're not going to try. They know how to hold it. If they can pick up another round, I'd say, right, they're going to be looking good heading into their defense. They can bring it back. You know, the round isn't over. But the bottom floor, they're going to be heading back there again. And I really doubt Georgia Tech, the way that they've been performing so far, are going to really get caught off guard again, which is something Michigan State really need to take advantage of. Because I have a kind of saying, if you take somebody that off guard, as we just saw, you're not going to get away with it again. They're going to be prepared for it. They're going to be waiting for it. So do something else they're not expecting. So maybe go for the con push. However, from what I'm seeing with the bans, you've got the Cade on the board. He's still being brought in with my Jaeger Goyo. It's still going to be a big ask. So maybe rather than a freezer step push, a main stairs and a construction push, something that isn't typical. That's how MSU are going to pick up their final attack round if they do it.
Well, we're heading into this final round of the half. MSU need to get themselves at least one more round to be in a very solid position here. And it's very possible. I'm not saying it's out of the realm of possibility. I didn't mean to be doubting them in the last round, but the way that GT are playing, it really just seems like they're on top of the book of the game. They're really just playing what seems to be their own style. And MSU haven't been able to adjust, at least not yet. There's still a possibility for it, and it looks like they're actually going to return to the exact same type of take they were before. And look at that. They're already starting to clear out utility a lot quicker than they were before, and that's probably because Gel Shots, he wasn't in the position to take it immediately. And speaking of taking it, he almost got his life taken away there. And all of a sudden, flashbangs will also ring out. Spin is going to be dealt a lot of damage. Two players here at that pillar along with Mighty Africa is going to start reinforcing here and force that team to actually take care of J Bunker. And with 2 minutes left here, this looks extremely dangerous because MSU have so much control of this map already.
Yeah, definitely. Clearing utility has been key. And the north side players on those stairs don't have to peek. As long as they keep the defenders distracted, that will allow them to get the place they need. But Squash will push through. Jello Shot's picking up one kill as Squash gets a second onto Egg. And suddenly, the map control doesn't translate into the kills they need as Squash finds another. playing behind that Pillar's area. Pillow, not really sure, but Squash definitely isn't sleeping on the job. He is looking for these kills. Volley's not going to find one of his own, as Spin does as well. And as Spin is able to even it out, he will get traded by Sir Ben. And it is a match of gunfights and trades so far. Volley, though, on his own in Pillar's area, a minute 20 on the clock. Can make this happen. We've seen that he's able to pick up the frags, but the question is he able to beat Georgia Tech? They can go for a double peek here if they so desire, but the air jab going off will give away information. Volley gets one kill, and he gets a second. That's a clutch, and MSU pick up their second round on attack.
Ending that off with a triple kill clutch. I'm pretty sure he got himself a triple kill there, but it doesn't matter because he was just able to point and click better than them right there. And like you said, they were able to maintain that 2-4 split that a lot of people, especially when you see the momentum go heavily against you, aren't able to fight back. But it looks like this game is not over just yet, because as we swap halves, MSU, now it's their turn onto this defense. And the only question is, are they going to be able to bounce back, maybe get themselves a 5-1 split? Who knows? But they have still technically a tall task ahead of them, as they need to get back at least one to be semi-competitive.
Yeah, looking at this is where MSU really need to pick up the momentum. They need to say, right, we've got an opportunity. We're going to grab it by the neck, and it is going to be ours. And I think Kid's bedroom is the perfect place to do this. Now, we're seeing a very similar kind of style of defense. We've got the utility drainage, but we don't have a Valkyrie. Instead, we have a Bandit. We have a Jaeger Wamine for the projectiles, but then we've got the Bandit, Mute, and Cage. So that is 3 C4s on the side of MSU. Yes, it's being used for the rotates, but still, that is a very aggressive loadout coming out. And as I'm sure a friend of mine, Blue Panda, would say, the call center of death, VL.
Or as what me and one of my casters like to say, it's Nitro Cell Bonanza, as we like to call it. And honestly, using it on a rotate hold, yes, you have 3, so it's not that big of a deal, but that's a potential kill that you lose now. I really don't know if that was worth it. Granted, you did need that rotate, so I guess at the end of the day, net cost is still valuable.
Yeah, I've just realized, looking at the mute on the board, I've just realized why they used a C4. Bloom is bringing the MP5K, and with the 1.5 scope, that is a very aggressive weapon to be holding, and a very good one. He is running the Hollow, so doesn't have the better scope, but still, having that on the board, as well as Spin bringing it, you have got definitely a frag-heavy set of defenders. And GT Gold, the way that they're looking to take this, they've got a Hibana, they've got an Ace. I'm seeing a split push come out. Take control of Master, open the game's wall, so then you can see the Attic rotate as your Attic players will start to push. But Squash here might be able to find a quick kill on to the Cade player. Polyblob gets to find a kill, since this rehost is going to be looking to make it happen now, but just can't find the bodies. Will be backing off, playing it safe, and you can't really blame him.
Can't blame him indeed, and he has to fall back here. He doesn't want to lose his life, whether it be to squash that Ash or anybody that opens up that closet wall. And while that closet wall is going out, nothing else really coming in. Egg, he's going to be able to find one more on the board for him, as on that roam game, he's actually going to be going up into this big tower stairs, and Mighty Africa, he quickly checks it, but he doesn't know that he's there. It doesn't seem like anybody knows that he's here, and he could catch himself 2 free kills if both of these teams aren't available, or excuse me, aware. Volley, however, he's going to keep on his hot gun, and he gets one more onto Sir Ben, and Spin, a lot of damage dealt onto him. Now confirming that there are 2 players in, or at least 1 in Big Tower. They're going to be pushing up, and they don't know, at least as of yet, that one person is below them. And look at this, a cheeky angle coming in here from Egg. He might be able to catch 1 or 2 for free here.
This is beautiful. If it pays off, it's going to be round with it. But Jello Shots finds the kill onto Egg, checking the back. That's what we were talking about MSU needing, is the flank drones and being wary of the roamers. Shogun will be rotating around to make it a 3-man push through Attic. But as time is starting to tick down, 38 seconds, you cannot wait that long for the diffuser. Spin is going to be playing in the Attic area, ready for the player to come through and find that first drone. but no player is following it yet. Although Mighty Africa coming through will have his head ripped off. The Nomad able to get the refrag though, making it a 3v2. And as the Bandit rotates back onto side, Yellow Shot's looking to shut off any support coming in favor of Romas. But 15 seconds on the clock and still in Attic. Time is ticking down, the angles aren't going to help. The C4 comes out but doesn't find a body. However, we will see Bloom find one and Polyblob shutting it down. And MSU, like I said, they had to take the ground. They had to get the momentum, and they have just done it. A very controlling round, as we saw the time just being ticked away.
And the momentum has, like you said, swung to Michigan State, and now they are in control, at least in terms of momentum. They're still one round down, but honestly, I expect them to tie this up here because they just look to be playing a little bit more with an upbeat tempo, like we call it. They're playing what seems to be just better in terms of their gunplay. They're winning their outright gunfights now. They're not letting it get to their heads. And while they lost 4 in a row, now they've got 3 in a row through a half. And that's what's really going to lead up to them. This could just be a game that we see the mental being tested. It could be all about, are you going to be feeling down yourself? Is your confidence going to be shattered after a few rounds? Because we know these guys can gun. We know they can play off of each other. The question is, are they going to be able to really stay strong mentally and be able to play off just better?
Yeah, definitely. The momentum is going to favor MSU because when they look at it, it's okay. We're 3-4, we pick up a round, we break even. And we're on our defense. So we have the opportunity, and it's going to feel a lot easier to set it all up and start taking those rounds. But on GT Gold, they're 1 round away from breaking even. We are on attack. Typically in Siege, the least favored side to be on. We need to just really step up, and putting that pressure on themselves might cause issues. But if we can see MSU hold out this side, I think it's going to be very telling to the mentality of the teams. If GT Gold can keep that mentality in a good place, say, all right, we're just going to go in, we're just going to do what we need to, get the checklist sorted, start moving in and around. And we're going to see a very early push towards Destruction and that big tower, which doesn't really surprise me. They want that north side control to get distractions onto the defenders, but Volley's playing that construction box. ADS no doubt going to be supporting him. The Wamai going to be there as well, but Spin's going to find the first kill onto Jello through that box area. Very nice quick peek, getting that opening kill and getting one of the only hard breaches on that GT side.
Granted, they still have the ace, but that's going to be a lot harder for you to clear out just any of these walls if it's just your ace, because you've got 3 of these Selmas that are going to be a lot harder to get rid of walls, and you have to be certain on those walls. And now it looks like he might just find himself a free pick. Leg, he's not looking, so he's not going to find a free pick, at least not yet. He has to be wary of these stairs. That's his biggest issue right now, is if he gets contested by the stairs. Nothing else, and we could see a very quick gunfight come out here from Mighty Africa. And he elects to go onto the other side of this wall. An interesting take here, but it doesn't matter. Volley gets himself another as he is just balling out here on this side right now. This gunplay from him is absolutely insane. And this 3v5 now into a 2v5. Spin finds himself a double kill on the round. And Sir Ben, he gets 1 back here, but he's going to have to do a lot more as he won't. Mighty Africa gets shut down. Spin, triple, Bloom, 1 ends this round. And we're all tied up, McCready.
This is definitely going to be a much closer game than we anticipated a couple of rounds ago, because we have just watched MSU pick up 4 rounds in a row, and the mentality on GT cannot, I gotta see it being shot because GT lost a player before they even stepped foot inside the building. They still had to attack a really defender-sided site, and heading to Kitchen Dining, this is where GT really have to get back in the game. They really need to wake up a bit more and say, right, we're going to go for these kills. We're going to get the opening pick, and we're not going to just give MSU the kills which we've been doing. They've been very confident and go for the peaks, going for the angles they know that will work. And GT just don't seem to have an answer. Yes, they get a couple of kills towards the end of the round, but nothing of real impact, because when you're going in, 30 seconds left, and you're finally killing the Pillars player, there's not really much time left for the actual take, is there?
No, there's not. And honestly, if you're GT Gold, you're on this attack, and I don't think that this was the same thing that we saw when MSU was on attack. I don't think that they're going... I think they're going through their checklist. I think the one problem that they're having right now is those gunfights. They're not sure what gunfights they want to take. They're getting caught out by getting into awkward engagements, like you see Spin, who had a very nice pick early on onto, I believe it was, Jello shots. Then it's all about the timing of your gunfights as well. Mighty Africa, he's gone pretty quiet right now in the past few rounds. I believe hasn't gotten a kill in the past 3. And that's your star player, technically, if you're GT Gold. So MSU, they're doing exactly what I would have wanted them to do, which was shut down your star player. And they're just playing it to AT right now. As you can tell, the scoreline, they're tied up.
Yeah, and we're going to start seeing a mini Tamil push as GT Gold look to get the initiative and get another round on the board. It only put us away for 2 rounds to victory. But this mini tower being taken, I talked a little bit about it last time. Yeah, there's no players towards mini tower, and now GT have control, and that's the angle I was talking about. Now, if a plank goes down, it's going to be virtually impossible for MSU to contest it. So the objective has realistically shifted to not letting them in the site at all, rather than maybe playing for a retake. And with the Habana charges being able to open up longer lines of sight over towards that blocker area. Not exactly the breach you'd want, but, you know, you'll take whatever you can get at this point if you are indeed GT Gold. And the vertical hole will tag up Bloom through a ball from that top floor, and there's nothing MSU can do about it realistically as Squash pushing towards that door, Polyblob looking to slow them down.
Slow them down. They're going to have to just do anything they possibly can, and it doesn't look likely because all of these power positions are getting flooded by this side of the map, and it just doesn't look like MSU really has an answer for it. So GT Gold, maybe this is the round that they need to set themselves back into a momentum. And like we see, the early pick coming in for Serban, he gets himself another, at least on this game. And Bloom, he's still caught out in a very awkward position. He doesn't know exactly where everybody is, so he's just going to spray wildly. Volley, a lot of damage dealt to him as well. They got to get this bomb, or excuse me, this diffuser planted as well. That's the other issue, because while you have all this map control, you have to make sure you don't get swung on while you're trying to plant, because there's no real safe spot to plant if you're this attacker.
Yeah, definitely. And the goal for GT as we approach the last 40 seconds is definitely get the positions where you can go for the plant. Bloom has given up that locker control, but still has the rotate. The smokes are going out and the plant is going, and there's that outside rotate you were talking about. Some player, I do believe it's Spin, is going around into mini tower to distract them, take some damage, as Bloom will go down to Wise, and the shots are starting to come out. The plank going down, and Egg will get taken out by the A Squash. Now GT just have to hold. Time is ticking down in their favor. Spin being injured will drop it all down to Volley. Looking for the angles of pre-fire coming out. Will not find what he needs to. He's going to have to peek it with the shotgun, or he's going to have to head around. Realistically, as time ticks down past the point of no return, Squash will finish it off. And GT, that is what we saw in the first half. That's what we need to see them start bringing back. Winning those early gunfights, dominating the lines of sight, and just not letting MSU move.
It's still a very big possibility that we see all 12 rounds here. And honestly, if we do, I would not be upset about it, because both these teams, they're playing extremely well and they're feeding off of each other's energy. We're seeing GT, they're able to fight back after that round. They knew exactly what they need to do if they attacked a certain round. That's exactly, or excuse me, a certain site. That's exactly what happened. An interesting pick coming in. We're going to be seeing a Jackal being brought up by Serban. Clearly, he's worried about these roamers, and it makes a lot of sense. We know that these guys can point and click, as demonstrated through this whole map. So you have to be worried, are they going to be pointing and clicking from behind us now?
Yeah, and that's the thing. We've seen GT be really effective with their roams. Squash, on his own on this side, able to move up those main stairs and get a 3K just to end the round completely. So it's understandable that one of their strengths is something they're going to be looking out for as well, saying, okay, you know, if there's something you're really prevalent with in your gameplay, it's going to be something you pay attention to a lot than others. So bringing the Jackal, being prepared for roam play, isn't surprising me, and I like seeing it. That's all I'm going to say about that. But looking at this site now, MSU, they need to play catch up yet again. I don't think you can really let GT go to match point here. Yes, you'll be going down to that bottom floor again if you win this or lose this site, realistically. But you can't give GT that freedom of movement. And as this round does start off, we are going to see a pretty typical lineup coming out from both sides. We're going to see the utility stacked MSU going up against more of that split push GT.
One thing I would have to critique GT on is that they have to be worried about Egg, who's going to be going on this flank most likely once more. And if he does, you have to be worried. Where is it? And I don't think that drone spotted him out. That could be extremely dangerous. Nope, it heard him run away. So now that they know somebody is in armory, they are going to take this heads-up gunfight. Maybe take someone down, and Squash, he gets himself one more. He's tacking himself on. He's already passed double digits here in this matchup. And the question is, now he has to get the rest of this checklist done. And he does. He gets that Kaid Claw off the board here. And that's the other issue that they have to worry about. Squash, he got himself another one. And he is out here. He's getting his team back into the groove. They want to get that momentum. They want to pass this round. Jumps past the mute jammer. And now he's going to be able to spot out everything that goes on. Almost shoots his own teammate. His spin. And Squash, after those engagements, he's still on relatively high HP.
Yeah, 2 unanswered kills and still on that high HP. That is a good position to be in, especially with your full 5 players still up. The Attic side will be open with realistically out any hitch at all, and suddenly Spin, he's in a bad position because he's going to be pushed from Attic. He knows it, but he can't back up. Mighty Africa will find that kill, playing aggressive, waking up, like you said, with Shotgun waiting on the rotate. Mighty Africa's going to play it smart. He doesn't want to peek it, but Polyblob finding the first kill for GT will... Bloom will find another one. Squash finds Mighty Africa as well, bringing it down to a 2v2, a minute on the clock, but they can go for a plan here. GT can get this plan. Bloom and Blob gonna have to slow them down. Squash is still alive, though. Like you said, already hit double digits and looking to make more as time gives them that potential to get the rotate around, which you're gonna see from Squash. Polyblob looking for a kill through that attic rotate. This is going to be the angle that I think can define how this round plays out. If Polyblob can find a kill, it's going to be huge. If he doesn't, and just allows Squash to walk in, that could be the round in favor as he finds a third, and he's going to be looking for a fourth, and he gets it.
Squash is living up to his name, squashing his opponents, pointing and clicking just better, and look at this nice little snapshot back to the head. It doesn't matter. A very well-timed flank coming in there from Squash. He knew that exactly where they both were going to be, so he said, why not go from an angle they weren't expecting? Cross right in front of the gun. And it doesn't matter because he's going to win that outright gunfight. He is at 15 kills, including before the rehost. This man is on fire. Give him the mouse. He's going to point and click. And McCready, we're at match point right now on Oregon.
Yeah, I was about to say that 15th kill, the most important one, putting us into match point in Oregon. Like you said, GT gold, Georgia Tech gold. Looking to take the first map against Michigan State Green. And correct me if I'm wrong, but this is MSU's pick, isn't it?
Yes, it is. That's the thing that I was really, really confused about because they picked this map, and yes, they went into max OT, but they still lost that map, and they still, I don't know, there must have been something that they felt still confident about, and I don't know if I agree with that, especially when you know that VOD reviews are still a thing, especially for the teams that, you know, in that collegiate level are going to be playing this like a varsity sport, because this is their varsity sport.
Yeah, and it is a lot of fun, so get involved if you have the opportunity to. I'm going to use that as a wonderful segue there, because I can't recommend it enough. But looking at this bottom floor now, MSU, it's worked out before as a round. Spin really just stepping up, and then it came down to a clutch situation that realistically GT just couldn't do. So I understand why you're coming down here, even though you could go back up to the Kid Storm side. This is the make or break round hit. You have to play a perfect game of Siege from out here, and Egg going to be looking to utilize that long angle and construction and bunker yet again. But Squash, he's learned his lesson. He's going to be very careful. Get the drones in, and Volley is going to get tagged up to 1 HP already, and just say, nah, I'm going to play this much more passively, because you have to at this point. Because Egg, playing around pillars can realistically support really well.
Yeah, I don't know if that was the right call from Volley to just go for those heads-up gunfights, but clearly MSU think that they have to be more aggressive if they want to win against GT Gold. Georgia Tech Gold here, they really are a team that can just outright win you in your gunfights. And MSU, they understand that one thing that they need to do is just play slowly and better. And now that he has it confirmed, I don't think Egg knows that someone is right here. And no, he doesn't, so the heads-up gunfight's going to win. Mighty Africa, he gets himself another. And there we have it. Now he has a power position. Give him the double kill on this round. Will he get himself a triple? No. Bloom, he finds one back. But the refrag there for Squash, he's on for possibly a 20 bomb. Give him 17 on this matchup. And the man disadvantage heavily in favor of this attack. And Polyblob, he's left alone in a 1v4 scenario. Diffuser going down. It just does not look likely here, but he's able to find the first on the Squash. Is he going to find the diffuser? Yes, he does. Wise Shogun is down. He finds the first, and this could be the first of a potentially very good round set up from here. And he loses almost no HP in that engagement, and he rotates positions. The only question is, he knows where one person is. How can he win out this gunfight?
That is 2 free kills. That is huge, but he needs to rotate here. Sir Ben is just not going to let this slip away from him. Both players trying to quick peek best they can, but neither of them finding the head. And oh, that push from North Says was absolutely beautiful. Being able to get in without Egg just knowing at all, like you said, but Sir Ben will be the player to shut this down, finding that final frag towards Freezer and giving Georgia Tech Gold the first map. And we will be heading to Theme Park, which is one I'm really excited about.
Yeah, Theme Park, one of those maps that both these teams have gone to, like we talked about, and the only team that lost it was Georgia Tech Gold. So maybe they slip up, maybe we go to a third map here, or maybe they improve their record on that map to 2-1. That's going to be the important part of this setup here. And before we head to a quick intermission and a quick break for map number 2 to head to Theme Park, I just want to point out, Squash, he dropped 17. We were talking about Mighty Africa. We better he probably heard us and went, yo, put some respect on my name. And Squash came out to ball. And both these teams, they played phenomenally. But Georgia Tech Gold, they were able to out-better their opponent.
Yes, a really good effort coming out from MSU. A Herculean task ahead of them. Unfortunately, they were just not up to it. And Georgia Tech, like you said, will take that first map heading into Theme Park next. Make sure not to go anywhere. Myself and Viola will be just right here.
Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna let it away. Tonight, we gonna let it away. Tonight, we gonna let it away. Just like the sunrise, we gonna let it away. Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know that there's no room for doubt. No, we can't turn back now. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna let it away. Tonight, we gonna let it away. Tonight, we gonna let it away. Just like the sunrise, we gonna let it away. Music keeps me on and on. You got the feeling. The music keeps me singing. Music keeps me dancing. Music keeps me dancing. Music keeps me dancing.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and you already know what time it is. It's map number 2. I'm your caster, Vyal, alongside my co-caster, McCready. How are you doing, my man?
Oh, I'm doing really good. And after watching that last game, it's only going to get better. Now, if you did catch the last map, Georgia Tech Gold were able to pick up Oregon against MSU Green, who didn't pick up a round for 4 rounds, picked up 4 on the trot then, and then GT were just able to close it down. So realistically, looking at this, heading into GT Gold's map pick, this is what I expected. If they could get the first map, then they could probably actually look at closing it down, or at least pushing it through to Villa, our third map of the evening. Now, GT Gold have got a lot of a safety net here. MSU, though, they really have a hill to climb. They have to get this next map, then they have to go to Villa, and we are going to see a substitute coming in, aren't we?
Yes, we will be seeing a sub come in. Bloom is actually going to be coming out from this matchup, and we're going to be seeing Ling come back in, and it makes a lot of sense. He is, I believe, one of the regulars on this roster. So welcome back, Ling. So maybe that is possibly the missing link to their team, or should I say the missing Ling to their team. That's going to be the big, I guess you can say, mesh type of issue, but all these players most likely play with each other all the time, so I'm not really worried about it. The only thing I am worried about is this map pick of Theme Park, because both these teams have played it, and GT Gold, this was their map pick, so it's up to them and how they're going to adjust in terms of, you know, fighting back, maintaining that lead. And MSU, it's going to be up to them to actually bring this back.
Personally, I think if we can see GT Gold, if they can get the first couple of rounds on the board very quickly, I think they can easily take it, because then they've got the momentum. They've kind of made the statement of what they want to do. MSU then say, okay, we have to get up, we have to get much better, and we have to really start improving and working on some of the key issues we had in the last game. And there's one thing I do want to draw attention to that GT Gold have certainly noticed as well, is that MSU on their attack have been struggling with these flank joints. They've been struggling to protect the flanks. So I think you've got to be prepared to cover the back. And if you're not, bring a Nomad or a Gridlock or something that will give away information and let you know if you're being flanked, because that's where we've seen a couple of rounds that should have gone MSU's way just fall right through their fingers, and it has been heartbreaking, VL, as I think it probably should have been a 5-7 personally.
Yeah, I think we should have gone, at least in terms of the matchup, I think we should have been able to head to all 12 rounds. But speaking of heading to all 12 rounds, we're going to see if that's what happens here on Theme Park. We're heading back into our matchup here. And GG Gold, they're going to be starting on defense, which means they get the first outright ban here for attack. And honestly, I'm expecting more default bans.
Yeah, we're going to see a Thatcher. Let's be honest. On defense, there's not really anything you can get away with without the Thatcher, because as you see him get banned, yes, he's been reworked. Yes, he doesn't outright remove utility anymore, but he disables it for quite a while. But when you're playing in comp, when you're playing in games like these, that impact isn't really seen, because when you have the Thatcher down, typically 90% of the time, teams will be immediately there with the Thermite, immediately there with their Heart Breach to just open things up, because you then have to worry about the Bandit trick. But obviously, in ranked, casual, and unranked, that's where you're really going to see the impact of this. Teams are going to be immediately there on the board with that Thermite. So I don't see it being that much of a change. That's why he gets banned. But Jack will be taken away as well by MSU Green. That kind of makes sense to me, but kind of doesn't. But the Goyo, this is going to be a very nice ban to come out, and very atypical.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily surprised by the Goyo ban, but it is something that is irregular on this map, because typically we do say a Mira ban, which is still the last one to be coming out. So Mira is your last one off the board. Goyo, it makes a lot of sense considering how a lot of teams do tend to play this map. There's a lot of map to be held by the defense. So it's going to be up to them if they're going to, delay as much time from this attack. And speaking of this attack, it's going to be MSU. They're going to be hopping out once again.
I'm going to be honest now and just jump back to the bans really quickly. And I know it's really weird, but I really enjoy seeing Echo being one of the perma-banned ops, because yes, the invincibility glitch has come back, and A lot of leagues have just said, no, we're not going to risk it. We're just going to get him off the board. But then that allows for so much more flexibility in your bans. You know, you have an Echo taken off the board immediately, so you don't have to worry about that. You get to choose and maybe target ban the enemy a lot more. And the Goyo is something we've seen GTG use really well, especially on that bottom floor site of Oregon, is they've been able to have maybe a player like Jello play behind it, my thumb, and then as soon as you take out the shield and all the utility, there's the denial that you have to deal with of the flames. So I love seeing how this works, and I'm also going to throw something else your way, VL, sorry, I do not want to mispronounce that, is obviously it'll never happen because of the way that either team gets to ban an operator, and if you do this, you shoot yourself in the foot. But a Thatcher Caliban on Theme Park, what do you make of that?
5 seconds to insertion.
Well, that's I don't know. I mean, I see the reasoning behind it, I'll say that. But at the end of the day, I think there's plenty more attacking operators that should be banned outright rather than either one of those. Because, yeah, you ban Thatcher. Let's be real here. Thatcher's going to be banned probably 95% of the time you're at this map. And it makes a lot of sense. Thatcher, you know, he offers so much, but it doesn't matter because Ling, he's going to net himself Mighty Africa. That's the first pick on the board and technically the first pick for him in this series. So, you know, welcome to the game, I guess you can say. And now Squash, he has this very powerful position. The only question is he going to be able to swing back on? And yes, he will. He gets that refrag right back. Is he going to be able to swing back on the Maverick? Yes, he does give himself the double, but he's not going to be able to find himself the triple as the refrag once again comes in. And very early on in this round, it's now a 3v3.
Yeah, absolutely huge there. Ling, definitely an impact player, just saying, we are here to take your site and here to get the kills, and that's what we're going to do. But Sir Ben is also going to get one of them as well, as iCube is being taken away from the board, and MSU Green have yet to make a real statement of their position so far. They haven't got any walls open, they haven't cleared any utility, and they still have that barrel's possession, but not anymore, as Volley playing above is able to find that kill.
Now this round is going to just slow down for the time being because still 90 seconds just about left on the clock. And Wise and Jello still have plenty of space to work with. They don't really have to worry about, say, anything coming through as of yet. And it's going to be that ace, or excuse me, that ace Selma that's going to be opening up a few angles. And now that they know that the other part of the wall is being opened up, maybe we see somebody get more aggressive. And that's exactly what's going to happen here. Is Jello, he's not going to be able to land the shots as Polyblob. He nets himself one on this round. And Wise, he's left in a 1v2 scenario. Not a lot of room to work with, as it looks like he's going to be caught off guard, possibly here by a drone. But no, maybe he just swings in and catches Polyblob. And it looks like he might. No, he doesn't see the head. He actually won't be able to catch him off guard. And Polyblob, he gets himself the double kill, ends this round. And MSU Green pay for that aggression. They get it off the board.
That was a very good play. As you can see, that Polyblob just sat in the body, probably what Shotgun was looking at and saying, oh, it's a body, but unfortunately it was not. It was a very alive ace, and Polyblob able to get that double kill, like you said. Ling able to rush in and get that opening frag onto Mighty Africa. That was that was absolutely huge, as he was able to get in and, like as you said, get the kill. Yes, that is huge. Then it's the pace. Immediately, GT, you expect this aggressive playstyle, you expect all this pressure to come in, and within 30 seconds, Ling had posted himself up in split. He was shooting, trying to pick off Shogun at the Bandit behind that throne, and by that time, with opening that area, that amount of space on the map, you allow the rest of your team to come in. So if you die, it's okay. You know, your team can work around, you get a couple of kills, and then end it all. And that's exactly what we saw. So, Ling, you weren't alive the whole time, but the impact you had was definitely round-defining, and I think you just can't argue with me there.
Yeah, and he wants to make his presence known here. He's going to start, you know, playing off of that Ashe, and clearly he wants to play that entry fragger role as GT Gold. They're going to play that site once again, and they want to make sure that they don't make any mistakes, and clearly they want to apply more pressure vertically, as they probably want to do it in the last round too. We just didn't get to say it because, or see it rather, because Ling, he just went in and said, you know what, I'm just going to point and click against everyone, and nothing can really stop me. So this is going to be the switch up. Maybe MSU Green stays aggressive. Maybe they don't pay the price for it, or excuse me, maybe they pay the price for it now, because maybe, like we talked about in the last map, maybe they'll be expecting it, but no. MSU Green is actually be coming from the east side of the map, a new, different type of take that we didn't see from them in the first round.
And that's what I'm talking about there, is you have the bottom side. If you take advantage and just such an aggressive push and catch them that off guard, they're going to expect it, which is what GT Gold have done so far. MSU, though, have said, okay, we're just going to play into it. And then, like I said, try something else they won't expect. Jello shots, though, over towards this office area. Will catch a shot drone, but it gets taken away immediately. But the call can be made off the players there. The upstairs hole is going to be huge, and Jello looks for this kill. Is able to find Ling and shut him down without being able to get a kill on the board. But now, stuck in vault, Spin looks for that refrag, is able to pick it off. And Spin looks for this player over towards that initiation area. Doesn't find the kill, but does know that they are there. They can get a pinch coming out with the rest of his team, and Volley taking control of this captures area. Going to be looking to get a little bit more. If GT Gold, with the amount of players up on this top floor, if they lose it, they lose the round. As we see a minute 40 on the clock now. Spin taking a little bit of damage, just unable to find any kills. Squash will be looking to get a swing onto Zafir. He's able to find Volley, bringing us down to a 3v4. And oh, Squash is looking to get another one, but he falls as well. Polyblob going to find another kill. Survey finds one in answer, but the trade might be coming out quick. He drops down into barrels, coming around to the side as Polyblob knows he has to clear it out, but the player isn't there. Leisure Mine will tick down, and a 2v3 in favor of GT Gold. The man count is there, and they're not there to really affect a push onto the throne room. So MSU Green take some of this time, maybe to start droning, get together, go for some double peaks, because if you let GT Gold play the numbers game, you will lose. Prefaz going out will be unable to find any kills so far, and right now GT Gold, they are just sitting pretty as we stand, looking for them to pick up a round and even it out. Polyblob, though, will drop in this dragon area. They're gonna have to push through. They don't have time to really go for these walls. The spot on yellow will come out now. Polyblob yet to die in. Egg yet to find a kill. Gonna be opening up the yellow stairs. Egg, he can't get over to Polyblob now without taking these gunfights, but that might be the distraction they need. Africa getting smoke canisters out so far. Well, Polyblob, he's going to be looking as another smoke comes down. 10 seconds to get down on the clock, and Egger's pushing in. He finds a kill onto White Shotgun. Has to look for more as Polyblob goes down, and suddenly that could be the round. Sir Ben will get down in Africa. Is prone, and Egg is just unable to find a kill, but he gets it. Oh, that was so close. Oh, that was heartbreaking, in the favor of GT Gold. But MSU, an incredible retake and coming out of the dark depths of defeat.
Yeah, that was just a very, very hectic round coming in from both of these teams. Honestly, in MSU Green, it just looked like, I don't know, it just looked like they were playing better. I don't have anything else to say other than they were winning the outright gunfights, and they were just simply able to point and click better. I don't know necessarily if that was anything to do with them. You know, I don't know. I just think that there was plenty of mistakes coming in from both of the teams, and just outright gunfight won it for MSU. So it's going to be up to them to continue that momentum, and GT Gold, clearly no site has worked for them, at least as of yet. So maybe they have to swap something up. They're heading to this initiation room now, and they're bringing a Malusi. I don't know about you, but I am kind of in favor of seeing a Malusi being played on this map.
Yeah, looking at the Malusi, we talked about it last map, and we talked about it because it was banned, but being brought on here by the player Jello Shot, not Jello Shots, but Sir Ben actually, it gives away so much to the defenders. It's got the T5 SMG, and that is an incredibly good weapon to have. The impact nade speed, which you can see being brought by Sir Ben in favor of the C4, so the site rotate can be used. But then it slows them down. It slows down the attackers. It gives away audio information with, I believe it's been dubbed Wob Wob, but VL, I don't know if you've seen the new test server footage with Tachanka, but it looks like Malusi's got the MP5. Is going to be switching guns with Oryx in the next update.
Yeah, I
don't like that.
Okay, so my hot take for that is it doesn't really weaken her at all. Like,
no.
yes, gunplay at the end of the day will make her a little bit weaker, but let's be real here. The problem that a lot of people don't talk about enough, or at least the community talks about enough, but not the devs maybe, is there's a lack of utility, or there's a lack of utility on the attack to deal with the abundance of utility on this defense. And with 3 of the Malusi gadgets, and I call her Ella 2.0 really, is that you have 3 of them. It's just so much of the utility that you have to burn, and you can't shoot them. You can only use an explosive, which will most likely get naded out by an ADS or maybe a Wamai Frisbee. The real issue is that you have 3, not that her gun is overpowering. Granted, with that T5, she is very, very dangerous, and I think, yes, it'll weaken her a little bit, but her pick rate will most likely stay the same.
Yeah, and the way Ubisoft talk about balancing as this round does start off is they say they can't have a good kit, utility, and gun, and in my opinion, Malusi has all 3, and the MP5 will only be better, actually. But we will see Ling looking for that first kill. Squash will find one of his own, but Ling gets Shogun as well. He just walks in. He doesn't care about the Malusi, and will find that kill. The trade will come out, though, as we see Spin getting tagged up as well, but just the amount of pressure that you can put in there, getting control of that initiation area. Yes, Jello's playing behind, and as a Nomad charge will go down, it seems like MSU have heard us. Jello Shots, though, will find another kill and give MS the GT Gold that man advantage.
Map advantage indeed, but he's just going to be pushing in here while that wub, as we like to call it, will sound out. And now they know exactly that someone's in this position of this site, and he has to get rid of it. Now he does. So now he's technically silent, But they know that this plant is coming down. Squash. He's going to have to peek in here, but it doesn't matter because Spin, he nets himself 1 onto Jello Shots. That's your opening pick for this round. But Squash, he's pushed up here, and I don't think they've noticed it. And Mighty Africa is going to join him on this push here. The swing out, and it's all down to Africa. He finds himself 1 onto volley, but he knows where Spin is now. He knows exactly where he's going to be watching. And instead of keeping that angle, maybe does he get this? Yes, he does! The clutch master here for Mighty Africa. Let the rain sing in Africa, as I guess I'll call it now. And he nets himself that clutch. And the first round here for JT Gold.
Oh, that was so close to that Claymore. Oh, honestly, just I felt that. As soon as you see Africa take a step back, take out the Claymore, I felt that in my heart right there. Because that is just such a lucky decision that he decided to go around that way, and it was all out of 50-50. But luckily for Georgia Tech Gold, they are able to pick up the round and heading to bunk daycare. Rather than returning to throne room, I think this is a good idea because rather than return to throne room, because you go to daycare, because throne room you've tried it twice and you've lost it twice. You go to initiation, you get a round win there. If you lose a site once, yeah, try it again. But if you lose it again, don't go back, try somewhere else. You don't simply have enough rounds to really play for that. If this was maybe like CSGO and you have 30 rounds, sure. Maybe go back there, try it about 5 times, and then try somewhere else. But in first to 7, you can't afford to try the same site 3 times and have it work out once.
Yeah, it's all about that kind of war of attrition in terms of just overall gunplay because, you know, while sometimes you'll be able to do it, you know, every so often, and that's one of the issues that, you know, a lot of people have with repeating sites is that you know how it's going to happen if you lost dramatically. You know exactly what is going on, and now they read you. They know your strat. They know what you're going to be trying to do. So do you really want to try that again? But it doesn't matter. I guess they want to try it again. So it's going to be up to MSU Green to read into this. And hats off to Mighty Africa. And I'm going to correct myself, as I said before. He's going to bless the rains down in Africa as he cleans up that round. I had a mild lapse with my 1 brain cell, so forgive me for that. I have to give credit where it's due. And look at this take coming in for the daycare bunks. It makes a lot of sense. This is your standard take coming in here from your attack.
Yes, but what they might not know is they have got Squash playing down in that vault room. And if he can get a kill here, I can easily see this being round defining and possibly giving it to Georgia Tech. But no Malusi on the board will not be giving away that audio information. And while we go here, I'm going to make a statement, and I want you to think about it during this round. Malusi, but with Frost's SMG to balance her out so that the gadget is not, and the overall up utility isn't that good. But I think I've gone on enough of a tangent about Malusi. The black eye camera will be spotted out by Volley over by the Dragon Stairs, and the rest of the push will come in, and Jello's position in that vault area will be given away. Angles will be shutting him off and making sure that it doesn't look like Jello's going to make it out alive unless you see Shogun pull out something beautiful. Ling, though, coming from behind, will be looking to put a stop to that, opening the cafe area, looking to put some pressure, which is definitely the right thing to do, whether they know it or not.
He still was able to rotate out of there, him being Jello shot. So he now technically escapes with his life. But early engagement coming in here from Ling. And I believe it was Shogun as well. Yes, it was. And, you know, there's a lot of points here for, I guess you can say, MSU to deal with. Now that they don't know if Jello's out of here just yet, they have to drone him out and make sure that it's clear. Time is ticking, though, as they have just about close to 70 seconds here to kill if you're this defense. And now Ling, he takes a very good position here. He has an angle onto Arcade and thinks that Shogun is still on that other side. Maybe he catches Ling off guard, but no, this attack is actually going to just be a little bit more passive as they now guarantee themselves one man down, and that's going to be Ling. Shogun, like I called, was going to be able to find that off angle. Mr. Ben, maybe he finds himself another onto the round, wastes a whole mag onto it, but it doesn't matter because he reloads and finds himself another onto spin. And the man disadvantage really not playing out well here for MSU.
Yes, they are. 2 men currently down, looking to make it only 1, but with 30 seconds coming down on the clock now, 1 man is all you need. Egg still on top of the roof, Polyblob nearby with that diffuser. However, with the setup GT Gold, it's going to be a gauntlet to push. Volley, though, will get in and do this exact thing. We'll be able to find a kill onto Squash, pushes into the bunk area. The smoke spots it, but he finds the kill, gets traded out by Jello very quickly, who's able to find Polly as well, and gets a third, and that's the round for GT Gold.
Okay, he's coming here to play. Jello said, no, not in my house. You're not coming in and taking my kids from the daycare. These are mine. Call it Daddy Daycare. He is schooling all of them with that triple kill. And look at GT Gold. They're back on top, or at least rather in terms of momentum. Now it's 2-2, and they are heading back to the Armory Throne site. And it looks like they've picked this up here, McCready.
Yeah, definitely. Now that they've seemed to really have woken up, put some rounds on the board now after the first couple of rounds didn't really go their way, because the second round was quite close. It did end up coming down to that 1v1 with Mighty Africa and Egg trying to just play against each other in Throne Room. I think GT, the mental is like, you know, okay, we lost, we got the first map, we lost a couple of rounds, but we're coming back in now. Throne Room is the easiest side to defend. We've got the hard part out of the way. We go here, we win a round, and then we just keep riding that wave. So looking at it, I think this is a play to make. They've got to look for that early aggression from Ling, because that's something he's been able to get away with quite a few times. And bringing the IQ, though, he's going to be on the top floor shooting down, I believe. So we have a Roma of that top floor like we've seen before.
Roaming is going to help GT a lot out here, because if they have somebody on that roam game, it's going to kill a lot of time for them in their favor, because if not, it's going to be free real estate for MSU Green, and they're just going to be able to take control of the entire map, and really just, there's no way out of that site once you have control of the entire map. Then it's all about gunplay. And honestly, if we see Squash here get himself an early pick, maybe he does, but who knows, he's actually going to just barely miss the head there, and he gets back in onto site. Now they're clearly aware that somebody is up top. They're going to probably drone it out and make sure no one loses their life. And Jello, he's going to hold up here, maybe get himself a very early pick, and, you know, try and put GT Gold on top for now.
I think the biggest problem with Jello coming to play over by this office area, playing that aggressive bathroom angle, is with the run out coming out from Squash. Yes, he didn't find a kill, but MSU are on high alert, and Volley pushing in is going to make sure that when he gets over to Jello, he gets that kill. Now, Jello will find that drone, and it will be taken away from him just as quickly as he got it, but he's able to find another one. Spots a player, but doesn't go for the kill just yet. Might be looking to do that in a second. As Volley, playing it safe right now, knows that if you lose this gunfight, they've lost very little, and you've lost a lot. So he's just going to play it safe, takes a bit of damage, and will just back off. But Squash will find a kill onto Ling.
Early pick here for GT Gold and Squash. He's probably going to at least debate falling back a little bit and not lose any HP, but more gunshots will ring out by those yellow stairs, I believe, and Squash and Sir Ben will just elect to fall back. Jello, he's already fallen back as well, and with 90 seconds left on the clock and MSU still trying to establish that top floor control, this does not look good for them because they still have to get onto site, deal with any bandit charges or just anything in general. This is going to be dangerous here for MSU.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely the gauntlet kind of style is being played out by Georgia Tech. And as the utility is starting to come through, we're seeing a lot less focus on the bunkers and on the barrels and maintenance area. Now, this is probably just in favor of that top floor road clear because they know the danger of the roamers. But now the roamers, that threat's not going to be coming from upstairs. It's going to be coming from the lockers. It's going to be coming from the drug shop. And speaking of lockers, that's a diffuser going down. Polyblob being the second kill to go down on MSU. Now, Egg and I do believe Volley will have to look for this refrag, but they need to check the door angles and they need to be ready to push so goddamn quickly. Yes, Jello's alone, but Spin's going down. Squash is there to support. The refrag will go out, but Jello can just come out as well. He can just say, I'm going to get a kill. You're not going to stop me. And as long as he is alive in that position, MSU cannot feel safe. So the push is coming out, and he doesn't get it. Egg pushing with the diffuser will give GT Gold. I'm going to say they're going to give them the round. Volley on his own, playing towards Dragon. He has to go for the diffuser, but he doesn't have time to get it and go to site.
Have recovered their diffuser.
Yeah, he doesn't have much time left to deal with here. 8 seconds left on the clock, and it's going to be up to them to try and swing into this volley. He knows one's right here. He wins that gunfight, but nothing else to it. It's just stat padding at this point. And the round goes to GT Gold. They get another one.
Okay. I'm going to talk a little bit about that round, and I think you know what I'm talking about. It's the tunnel visioning from MSU. Because we saw Ling pushing with the Ash. Yes, you had Jello being contested over towards the arcade area. But the main problem that I saw that round was they tunnel vision too hard on him. They focused on getting the drone in. They focused on getting the player to focus on that. But maximum you need two, realistically. A droner and a gunfight. Squash was able to just walk up through control, find a kill onto Ling, and just pull back. There was nothing there to stop. It was
need to locate and defuse as many bombs.
Kind of yikes at the moment. I have to describe it like that because he was able to just get a kill, pull back. Then towards the end of the round, which you definitely saw, and I know there's no way you didn't draw attention to this because I did as well, they all fed Jello. He was playing in lockers with the diffuser. Yes, you put a player up there to try and deal with it or cover it, or even a claymore at the very least, but you don't take the diffuser, not at all. That is a surefire way to lose a round, and GT Gold will take the lead for the first time on this map.
10 seconds to insertion.
Yeah, they take the lead finally, and it comes in favor of 3 in a row. But once again, if they get a 2-4 split here in terms of this defense, you know that they did their job. And same thing for MSU. They're just trying to find one more. And if they find a 3-3 split, that's technically in favor of the attack whenever they switch sides. But honestly, I think a 3-3 split is just the more competitive side of Siege, that whenever we see it, it makes for a much more entertaining game than a 4-2 split.
Yeah, definitely, because you see both teams, they know what is on the line, and there's even more motivation for the attackers because they know what they're going up against. So they're saying, right, we need to get this, but the same thing is happening with the defenders. They're saying, we need to pick up these rounds. We cannot not give them up. And Squash will get droned out. The hatch will be opened up and shots coming. Trying to find a kill, will be unable to, but it's just Volley, though, who will find Jello. Taking away the 1-mine. A very huge impact kill, especially when you think about the late game. But Squash roaming these yellow stairs might be a bit of a problem for MSU.
Not only that, when you get rid of a Wamai, which has those frisbees that regenerate a maximum of 5 at a time, you know, that's one of your biggest issues, because yes, you have your ADSs coming in from Jaeger, but you don't have the ability to actually bring in more. And we're gonna see Squash, he gets himself 1, not able to swing on and get himself 2, because Volley, he's just better in that engagement. But Squash, at least he gets himself 1 back, making it at least a little bit more doable for the rest of his teammates here, with just a little over 90 seconds here left to play in the last round of this half.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I want to see a 3-3 split, and currently we are looking like we're going to get it, as we see the 4 players of the attack on MSU Green are looking to apply pressure and get this plant down. However, it is not a daycare side. It is that initiation, as you can see, and they need to funnel through the kill holes that GT Gold are no doubt falling back to, just to play safely, play it okay. You know, you don't have to aggress these angles. You're a man down. Doing that is too risky. Make them come to you. And it looks like Georgia Tech Gold are doing very well. So they're just holding. They're waiting for the Malusi charges. They're waiting for the push to be called from the cameras. MSU Green, they need to get an opening kill. They need to just start pushing in. And they need to get it soon. As we see 47 seconds on the clock. Pre-fires are coming out from both sides. However, nobody's yet to find a kill. Mighty Africa keeping that daycare side a bit safe, but it will be Shogun the first to fall as Volley looks for a second but is unable to get it, as Surf Ben will get that kill. Player behind the initiation will be looking for the kill, but Africa finds Egg and brings us down to a 2v2. Spin looking for that trade, will not be able to get it, just there. Mighty Africa looking for that kill, unable to, but Surf Ben gets that plant and will stop it now. Suddenly looking like GT Gold all the way as Africa closes down Spin. And that is a 4-2 split.
They do get that 4-2 split, and they're able to lock it down once again. And it's going to be the exact same split that we saw last time when they were defending on Oregon. So now, as we swap over to the other half, MSU, they have to pull off what they did last time. They're going to have to bring in more rounds and see if their confidence is able to weigh back. This is GT Gold's map pick, though, so let's hope that maybe MSU pushes this to a third map, because both these teams, let's be real here, they're playing outstanding right now.
Yeah, and I want to draw attention to the start. You talked about immediately at the start. It is that both teams are undefeated. The 3rd and the 4th seed, I believe, respectively. I'll have to correct me on that. The 3rd and 4th seed in their conference so far. They have both been unbeaten, but somebody has to give. Somebody has to lose. And Ling, as we go into the defensive side, I'm seeing a Vigil play, and this might be it. The aggression that Vigil offers to a defending side can just really just put the attackers on the back foot. They have to worry constantly. The droning, it has to come out, but it's not going to be 100% effective with the Vigil on the board, and they know this. And Vigil itself, the playstyle has been is definitely going to lean into Ling's, how we've seen Ling perform so far. Always willing to go in for that entry frag and make the opportunities for his team. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him trying to do the same thing here, looking for the huge impact kills as this round of the second half will start.
His playstyle more aggressive, and you know, it just makes sense if we see it happen. It's how a lot of players, you know, tend to do, especially as the entry. You see them hop onto either that Jaeger or that Flex for your entry, which would be that Vigil, which makes a lot of sense. You get to deny a lot of intel and time for this attack. So GT Gold, their main task is going to have to be able to flush out these top 4 roamers, which I believe is, I'm not sure, I believe it is Ling and one other person. Could be Volley on that Jaeger. Yes, it is. It makes a lot of sense. These are the 2 most likely options to push back against an attack. So GT Gold, they just have to play it careful, play their gunfights, you know, as smart as they can. They can't really take those aggressive gunfights as they could when they were on defense.
Definitely, because they need to push those gunfights, and you need to be 100% certain that you will win, because if you don't, I think we all have seen the effect of it just doesn't go your way in the end. Ling, though, will start to get droned out. We'll be able to pick them off, denying that a little bit of later utility, but finds the header Squash. An incredible angle. Looks for another one, but just can't get it. but he's got what he needs to. He can just back off, play it safe, and wait to coordinate double peaks with his team. But Africa is looking to flank, and if Africa goes undetected, which I doubt he will, this can be a huge flank.
Yeah, but the only question is, Ling is still up here. He's still playing as aggressive as he was beforehand, I think. And I don't know if they know this, and they do. As the pick comes in for Sir Ben, he gets one more back on the board for his team. And still about 60 seconds left to go. They don't have a lot of real estate to work with. They don't even, doesn't even seem like they know exactly where they want to attack from or get a wall open if they can. And that's the issue. If you're going to try and do a Maverick trick, you have to be wary of anything else. But no, it's going to come out from that ace. The Selma charges will ring out. And it's going to be possibly a very late flank here coming in from Volley. They're not going to be really expecting this, especially if, actually, I take that back. Shogun, he knows exactly where one is, and he gets the refrag, not able to save his teammate. Volley gets one more on the board for himself. And it looks like this is going to be coming in from yellow. One of the strongest positions to come in from, especially as you open up the wall. And the wall just barely gets open, I believe. And Mighty Africa, he's looking maybe for the possibility of a flank to force these defenders in the other site back. 13 seconds just about here left on the clock. And both of his teammates fall to the ground. It doesn't matter. Spin gets a double, and Polyball finishes that off.
A very nice ending there to a very close round at the start, and we're gonna draw attention to that Yellow Stairs performance and what really went on, because you know, you look at it, you think, okay, ace, you check the corner, you moved backwards for like a second, and immediately your teammate has just got taken out. But I want to talk a little bit more about that and the mentality there. Ace, Shogun, you could have peeked it. You could have swung, because like checking the corners, that's a good thing to do. But your immediate thoughts is, okay, if I look at this angle and I swing it, if there's not a player there, which there was, Volley was there, and I peg him to win that gunfight, especially with the 416 and the element of surprise being on his side. Even if Volley isn't there, you've got to think, are they playing barrels? Is there someone with bullet holes? Or are they going to swing from split? Which is eventually what did happen from spin. So you look at that and you say, okay, you should have probably peeked it. You know, swing or be swung meta. But in my mind, that was played to a T, but it was just played perfectly better by Volley. If that makes sense to you, Gil, that's how I kind of see it. Holding that position was great. Waiting that little bit, set a bit more time. Unfortunately, the ace played it right, but it wasn't meant to be. Yeah,
I don't know. They just played it to a T, I guess you can say. That them being the defense, they really understood that they needed to delay as much time as they could, and they did. You saw how much time was left on the clock, and they had to rush their way through to get that wall open. And yes, they did, but at the cost of a player's life. And at the end of the day, I don't know if it was worth it. And we're going to be seeing them go to this initiation room bomb site, I believe. Yes, it is. And this is going to be another point of contention for this team. They have to be able to slow down GT Gold once again and make sure they don't get as aggressive and they don't win these outright gunfights here and spin a very cheeky angle. He knows that someone's going to be repelling. Maybe he catches himself the free kill, but one of the drones will be shot out. The other one will give himself the info, and he's just going to have to fall back here.
Okay, that's where I want to go back to the, okay, if a team have a strength in a particular area, they're going to be wary and know how to deal with it when they're facing it. And that's what we're talking about. Squash, he tried that spawn peak before, and MSU and GT Gold was saying, okay, we're just going to make sure. We're just going to play it safe. They might not be, but just in case. And there you go. We just saw Spin getting droned out and had to back up. But playing the bathroom angle, still a lot of potential for a kill to be caught off guard. Getting that drone, expecting it to come through. He has a lot of time to play with. And the bathroom angle, I do believe that playing that position definitely lends itself over towards the defenders. However, if you have control of bathroom, it's definitely the attacker's favorite angle. But the control push is coming through. The magnet's being caught without any real problem. And Squash, utility draining this control door. Looking to try and get anything possible. Will get a deployable shield. Now the defenders know that they're there. The C4 will not go through the door, so will not be going off yet. And as we see Spin take a little bit of damage, GT Gold are looking very good for a split push here, but MSU Green do have the players in support to come up front.
Round's still technically slow, as nothing has really happened as of yet, besides a little bit of damage onto Spin. And really, it's just them jiggle peeking corners, waiting for the timing, waiting for them to go off. And this is playing right into MSU's hands. There's not really anything else GT Gold can do besides play their way into gunfights, and that's exactly what Shogun does. He gets one on the board for his team. But the only question is, they still don't have any way back into sight. They have to keep pushing, but it doesn't matter because Africa is going to let it ring once more. Polybob gets one back for his team. He's got 5 in this matchup so far. And everyone else, it's just still stalling out for this attack. They don't really have anything else to do, but it doesn't matter. Africa, he's actually on site. Will they get this plant down? Yes, they will. It's starting to go down. It doesn't matter. The Squash gets a double, and Africa, he will clean that up.
That was a really good round and just absolutely textbook coming out from MSU. And VL, I'm gonna be honest, man, looking at that round, the way that you described it was definitely they had to play into GT, sorry. The way that GT had to do it is they had to play into MSU. And I'm sorry I got the names mixed up, but we move, we gotta keep going. They had to play into MSU, and the utility was there, all the pieces were there for MSU. But then GT were just able to ramp it up with the gunfights. They played a lot more aggressive. They picked gunfights they knew they could win, and they did with good reason. So they were able to start getting the plant down. At that point, the round's realistically lost. But one thing I have to commend MSU for, which I spotted at the end, towards the middle of the round, is about a minute left. You have Volley looking over towards the arcade stairs. So you can see if there's somebody coming up for the flank. And that's what I really like to see, because you have got that presence towards yellow. You kind of hear if they're coming, or they'd have definitely started putting shots through the wall a lot earlier if they were there. But as soon as you say, okay, it's about a minute, 40 seconds left, no presence at all towards the arcade area, you can pull that player back, especially as at that time in the round, the kills were going in favor of GT Gold. So as soon as one defender fell, you had a Volley coming from arcade just to take their place. And I think if you make the rotates a little bit easier for them to get to, rather than having your players being picked off coming through these high impact lines of sight, where you can see maybe that couch area, the waiting area where Spin is right now. If you have other rotations other than that position or really easy lines of sight for the attack to take, I could really see that going MSU's way. Unfortunately, though, it wasn't. And I think I've spoken a bit too much, VL, so I'm going to let you just take it home with this round.
Oh, please. I love listening to you. It's just entertaining, and I love it. Please, I really don't mind it, so don't have to apologize. But anyway, I will take over for you. And honestly, we're going to see Spin get aggressive once more. He really wants to try that spawn peek, and honestly, I don't blame him. I think one of the things that MSU Green, if they want to put themselves back in this round, is get aggressive. Maybe not overly aggressive, but stay aggressive. Or as the song goes, be aggressive. Be aggressive. And yes, I just said that on a stream. I am going to leave right now. But anyway, we're going to keep going. Polybob's actually going to back off. Interesting take here, even though that they had the map control. Spin is going to fall. That's your Mozzie off the board. And no way to control those drones. And a lot of man advantage going in favor of GT Gold and map control.
Yes, definitely. And as you see Jello Shot start to push, Mighty Africa will find Ling, but I want to talk about how the death of Spin, as we see Polyblob, another going to fall to Mighty Africa again, it's going to have to wait. Because the push is coming through, GT Gold realized that they have got a lot of momentum. They can keep pushing. The mute jammer has been taken on the initiation side, forcing Egg to pull off, head over towards the daycare area, and just try and use the ace angles against them. But with the attacker weapons, and they can just decide what gunfights to take, it's not going to go in their favor. Break room is already open. A minute 15 on the clock. Gunshots are coming through the pre-fires, looking to try and catch Egg, but he's not in a good spot. The double beat can come through if coordinated properly by Egg, but the ADS is going to delay that just a little bit. Mighty Africa coming through yellow. Volley looking for Ling, is able to find that, Squash, sorry, is able to find that kill. Mighty Africa gets one onto Egg, bringing out the trade and bringing this down to a 1v4. Volley gonna have to play, shut down this plan, but Sir Ben will not let it happen, and GT Gold yet again will go to match point. And I just want to say something before I hand off to you, Vinyl. Playing aggressive does not mean peeking everything. Spin.
Yeah, that is a very big thing that some people actually don't know. When people say get aggressive, that doesn't mean every single angle that you know someone's going to be, jiggle peek it, crouch peek it, stand peek it, run past it to see if you see anything. It's not that you want to be taking those heads up gunfights. It's that you want to just put more pressure on the attack rather than yourself.
Yeah, like the way Spin, I feel, should have played that was realizing the teammates he had in support. So he was playing towards the bathroom area. He was able to looking for a couple of kills. But as soon as he dies, you have Polly playing with the SMG-11. Suddenly, no support over towards that couches area, towards the waiting room. It's not a good position to hold, especially with that SMG-11, because as you saw, the GT Gold players just came around and were looking to find these kills. Now, what we saw then was Polly had to pull out. There was no choice around it. Then Ling took position with Valkyrie, went into that office area, but because the opening kill had already gone in favor of GT Gold, they felt, okay, it's confident, we can start moving up. If they were going to go for a refrag, it would have been now. The drone's going in, calling it clear. And by the time Ling is rotating in and having Polly in support to help so that they weren't playing alone, Control had already gone out of their favor. From that point, it was GT Gold. They just take the positions. They open the walls with a Maverick and an Ace. It's really difficult to stop. And that's where the round ended, and that's why we're seeing GT Gold going to match point yet again.
Yeah, it's going to be up to MSU here to try and pull this back. They have to get 3 in a row, and one of the biggest issues I think that they're not aware of, this is the, I guess you can call it, trick up their sleeve that GT Gold are going to be bringing out. They're electing to bring a knock. We don't normally see this, and there we have it. They already plays a huge factor. Squash gets that opening pick, and knock, a very, very powerful operator, if put in the right hands, can really bring you some fruit. But it doesn't matter because Ling is going to get one back, but he gets immediately refragged here as Africa. He's on for 12 in this map already, and he's come alive in this matchup, proving to be the fragger that his team needs. And all of a sudden, a huge man disadvantage and plenty of time here for GT Gold to work with.
Yeah, clearly, because as you see Squash, he's running rings around this throne room site. He makes sure nobody can leave, nobody can go anywhere that he doesn't want them to, giving them entirety of that top floor control. He can join in, but he's going to be unable to because of that Mujama. But having such control early on is huge. Ling was able to get a refrag, but then fell again to, as you said, to the mighty Africa, who, well, luckily was obscured of Ling's vision from that holographic sight. But a minute coming down on the clock, the ADS is going to save that Malusi charge, and the element of surprise is gone for Squash, but the control is not, and that's the most important bit. As you can see, Sir Ben, Shogun, they can get this yellow stairs open with barely any contest from the defenders, and that's what they're going to be doing. Ben is going to be looking to hold an angle as Squash and Mighty Africa will both go down. Bodybot playing aggressive on that split, gets the double. What, Shogun going down as well. MSU Green are not going down without a fight as they push Sir Ben into a 1v3. Shots are going to ring out, and he's just not going to be able to hit them so far. But suddenly, MSU Green definitely saying they just don't want to lose.
Not want to lose at all, but it doesn't matter because Sir Ben is still going to push this game to the brink. He's still on full HP, I will have to say, but the only thing that he has to worry about is these off angles here. And he sees one, and the point and click and stare happy between both these players. And Polyblob will push this back once more. We're heading into this matchup. We're going deeper and deeper into Theme Park as they get their 4th round on the board, but still on match point is GT Gold.
Yeah, definitely. And looking at it, MSU have to play the perfect game of Siege now for 2 more rounds. And GT, they just have to they can't make a mistake. They can make mistakes, actually. MSU can't. MSU have to play perfect, like I said, but GT, they just need things to go right once. And I think have it going right once rather than 2 rounds, and then overtime, and then another map if you win that overtime. That's a much bigger ask than for GT to just pick up 1 round. And with throne room taken away, GT have shown that they can push
Attackers need to
these top
locate
4
and
sites
defuse
really
as
well,
fast as they can.
and they just have to do it one more time.
That's the mental fortitude, I guess you can say, that GT Gold have. All they have to say is, guys, 1 more round. Meanwhile, MSU, they have to take back 2 and then another 2. Oh yeah, and then a possibility of at least 7 if they want to take away this matchup if we go to a map number 3. And honestly, it's still doable for MSU because you saw with even a man disadvantage, they were still able to pull that round back. And all they had to do was just some shotgun play coming in from Polybob, holding those tight angles, making sure that the angles that the attack had to come through were very few and minimal, and that you execute on those mistakes. And granted, I don't know if you can call it a mistake, but I will, because they lost the round by not checking those angles and not being sure of where they were entering.
Of course, and as we go to series point, MSU are set to take their first loss so far of their conference, and you really got to take into account how incredible both teams have played so far to get to this point to play each other. But GT Gold, like we said, just have to have things go right one time, and if they can, we're going to see now. Squash is going to make a very intimidating and aggressive presence towards this initiation side. He can hold up now, the rest of his team does catch up as he knows Office is realistically going to be clear. Ling is having
having some fun, all right? Let him
vibing.
have some fun, okay? Yeah, he's allowed to vibe. Ling, it's his first round, his first map back, so let him have some fun. Wasn't able to ball out with the bros back on the other map, and it doesn't matter because he pulls off a shot like that. Let him vibe some more, but this drone shot will cost him his life as Sir Ben gets that refrag back for Squash. It's one of your hot gunners off once again, but it's not a lot of utility that necessarily is necessary for this round. You still have your hard leads. You still have a lot of any other utility clear that you need in your Zofia and your Sledge, and it doesn't matter. That ace charge is not going to be able to be burnt out just yet. A second one will be used to get this wall open, and the impact will come in and get the rest of that. And I believe that's all of those Selma charges used on just that one wall. So that could be very dangerous because you have that entire yellow wall still reinforced. And if you're not careful of those angles, really, they could just swing onto a planter.
I'm going to be honest, looking at that, what I really like to see was that Maestro using that impact nade through the Maverick. Polyblob looking to use his utility as well as the C4 goes out to tag Africa, but just doesn't find that kill. Time to get down, and GT still have to make the aggression if they want to secure this best of 3 series. MSU Green, they've expected this push, has been coming out a few times now. They're just backing up and playing it safe. They're waiting for GT to come to them. This deployable shield, which you can see Spin playing behind, is going to cause a lot of problems, and tagging up Sulain down to that 1 HP. 20 seconds left. Jello Shots is going to make something here as he's able to push into Daycare. Finds a kill onto Egg, and finds one into the volley as well, bringing us down to a 2v4. Polyblob gets a trade of his own, getting one, but he is being pushed from downstairs. Mighty Africa will find that kill as Polyblob gets one of his own, and GT close it. And we have the same score as Oregon, Veal.
Yes, we do. And a very good game, I have to say. I was expecting it to be a little bit tighter on this map, especially with both of these teams really just, I don't know. I was expecting it to be a bit tighter, and it looked like GT Gold just really found a way to actually put themselves a step up. And the step up that they got was, of course, that step-up performance that they needed from the Mighty Africa. He got himself back to that double-digit performance, and I believe he got himself 13 kills in that map. So hats off to him. He was able to bring it back for his team, having a quiet game in the last time. And, you know, good for them. They did a very good job. They were able to dissect what seemed to be a very solid setup from MSU on every single site. So hats off to them. They just played better, and they take this in 2 maps rather than going the distance with all 3, which is kind of surprising to me.
Yeah, that's huge. That's kind of what we pegged out, but I think I said if we saw GT pick up Oregon and then go to theme park, I think I said we'd see them take the whole thing. But believe me, it was so much fun watching us get to this point. And looking at that, I'm gonna ask you a quick question because I know you're the stats man out of the two of us here. So, Veal, how close is Mighty Africa now to those triple-digit figures currently playing through the CollegiateR6 league?
Oh, he passed that. He passed that in the first map. He didn't even need double digits in the first map to reach triple digits. He is there, I believe, if my math serves me right. If I can do some quick math, actually, let me just read real quick. 8 plus 5, that's about 13. He's at 103, and that plus another 13. He's at 116 kills within 4 weeks, and I believe 9 maps played. That is an insane total of kills. And right now, at least as of our stats that we can tell, at least on live, we know that he has the outright lead for kills in this league. So that's pretty good for him. Hats off to him. MVP. I don't know if I could give him MVP for this map because for me, it's the most aggressive player, which would have to be Squash. He got himself 10 kills on this map, and then I believe 16. No, I take that back. 17. My numbers were 1 off. I give him the MVP for this matchup.
You know, it's a well-deserved one because when you look at Spin up against Squash, when you look at Squash mainly, you see him going, he's willing to take these gunfights, he's willing to just make opportunities for his team. Now, Spin definitely tried to recreate a lot of it, but with Spin, it felt a lot like he was trying to emulate, especially with that run out we saw over by Office in Catching, trying to get that spawn peak, which GT knew about. So it's not a spawn peak which catches you by off guard, but we are going to have an opportunity to talk to Squash, the man himself, your MVP, VL, and I'm sure you've got a ton of questions to ask him.
Well, we're doing great, Squash. Thank you for joining us in the casting booth. And the first question I want to ask you is, how are you doing tonight?
I'm feeling great. We're 4-0 now. We're looking good, honestly.
And I guess my second question to ask is really if you know that, I guess you can say, I guess the only thing I can ask you is, you guys really came out on fire in that first map. I don't know if I agreed with them going to Oregon. Did you know that you guys were going to Oregon at all?
Honestly, we weren't expecting Oregon. We just started scrimming it this past week, so it's pretty new to us. But after scrims this week, we felt pretty comfortable on it, and we're kind of excited to see it in the pick phase.
Well, that brings out a very good point. And one thing that we went is theme park. Both of you guys went to theme park and played it. And you guys actually lost it the last time. I believe one of the last times you went to it. And this time now you take a very confident win on it. What was your strat going into the second map of theme park? Because you knew that they were going to be coming back and trying to be more aggressive.
They did. They played much more aggressive, and they were playing really good. Those first 2 rounds, they caught us off guard with the aggression. So we tried to adjust to that and kind of play back and let them come to us a little bit more. And that seemed to work a lot better for the next 4 rounds.
All right. And the last question I had for you before I hand any questions over to McCready, we got to see Mighty Africa crack triple digits already. Tell me, what is that man on? What are you feeding him over there?
Bro, Africa's nuts. I don't even know what we're feeding him. He's probably just eating some cereal before matches.
Well,
The
fair
classic
enough.
college ramen.
That college ramen.
Wow.
You already know that struggle bus meal. And that'll be all the questions from me, McCready. Anything you'd like to ask, Squash?
Yeah, where does Mighty Africa get that ramen? Because I'm going to need some of that. But
I don't know,
next
dude.
of all,
I don't know. I'll ask him. I'll ask him for next time.
Thank you. I need to know. But the main thing I really want to ask is when you saw MSU, especially on Oregon, start to pick up those rounds, because I'm sure you remember, you took 4 rounds on the trot. They answered with 4 of their own, 2 at the end of the first split and 2 at the start of the second. So what did you need to really break out from that and just say, okay, we're going to bring it back, we're going to win, we're going to take their map pick, and then we're going to dominate on ours?
Honestly, so with those last 2 defense rounds, it came down to a little bit of just bad play on our part. And after the first 2 attack rounds, we were playing too aggressive and kind of feeding into the strats that they wanted us to feed into. So I told the boys that we needed to calm down and play our game, and it worked after that. We took it more slow and got the dub.
Yeah, I think there's nothing other to say then. Congratulations, though. There'll be no more questions from me. And All like I said, is congratulations on a nice 2-0, knocking out the undefeated Michigan State Green and continuing to be undefeated yourself as we head into the next week of playdates. And honestly, best of luck heading into them.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all so much for having me.
Thank you, Squash, and have a wonderful night.
Thanks, you too. Bye, guys.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it from me and McCready tonight. And what a wonderful match that we got to see. A lot of great gunplay and a lot of great rounds that we saw in general. And that is going to be it. Excuse me. My one brain cell is slowly dying on me. So we're going to wrap this up. McCready, anything you'd like to say before I wrap us up?
It's been a pleasure to work with you and the wonderful folks at Collegia. Make sure to get involved if you can, because it is an unforgettable experience. Like I said, the UK one for myself, the Newell, has actually jump-started my casting career. I wouldn't be here without it. So get involved. The amount of opportunities that you can get are limitless and will make life so much more enriched, especially during these difficult times. But I do want to say there's going to be a couple of clips that I am probably going to see in a video somewhere, Viola. I think you will as well.
Yeah, there's no doubt that tonight had a plenty of highlights here just in terms of this game in general, and I'm very excited to see those myself. But anyway, let's wrap this up. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, once again for watching. Hats off to our production team. They are the ones that make this game run and keep us not looking as stupid as we normally do. I'm Vial. That was McCready. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, once again. Have a wonderful night.